Today we have with us David Light, the founder and publisher of Open Fences magazine. We'd love to get some insights into your success with the model that we're using here in Maine and why it works as a magazine promoting premier properties.
Well, what we realized is, the industry was full of pretty magazines for real estate. Lots of feel-good stories about cooking recipes and all sorts of things, and those magazines were thrown up on the newsstand, and everybody seemed pretty happy with that. We felt like there was a better way to do that. We built our distribution before we ever spoke to, much like you have, built the distribution before we ever spoke to a potential advertiser. And having the distribution in place and having a model that is probably more focused than any other distribution model in the country as far as we know, and that's certainly the feedback we get on a national level, has worked very well for us. It's been the difference of creating a magazine through probably the worst property market in decades, and to become the number one magazine in the country for rural properties. That's your opportunity, or that is what's happening here in Maine too, because the distribution, at the end of the day, producing a pretty magazine is actually pretty easy. Making sure the right people are reading it is where the rubber meets the road. And advertisers, I'm always amazed how rarely that question comes up. But it does seem to be coming up for you guys, and I think that shows a very healthy attitude in Maine to this kind of advertising. Why do it? Who's going to read it? Well, you guys have gone out, and we've talked about this a number of times, and you've gone out and you've created a really strong, very targeted distribution. You're avoiding the newsstands, which I think is a really good idea. What people don't understand about newsstand distribution is if I sent 20,000 magazines a quarter to the newsstand, and I had a really great sell-through, 16,000 magazines would go in a shredder. And I get a pretty good check, but that 16,000 magazines I already know I have a good home for. So that's why we don't do it. I know that you guys are the same on the newsstand. It's about placing it. It's about getting it in front of very specific people at a specific moment in time. And it's hard to do, and that you certainly aren't going to have a 100% hit rate. We all know that. But it's about getting the highest percentage hit rate you can. And I think that's what your model and our model allows.
Absolutely. And that's what we're doing here in the state of Maine. Our distribution model matches what Open Fences does on a national level. We are in executive airports, we're in city clubs, we're in yacht clubs throughout the state. We're in charter boat services out of Boston, and we have contacts throughout the country. And that's where we want to promote, we want to feature, and we want to showcase these luxury properties here in Maine. So thank you for coming to talk with us, David, today about your distribution model and the one that we have adopted here in Maine and that we know has a proven track record for success. Thanks.